Good morning. City Council, hi. City Council meets today, and we have a busy agenda. We need to get Toronto moving and build some housing. As we speak, people are frustrated sitting in a bus, stuck in traffic. They have chosen to go to work or go to school by taking TTC instead of driving. Earlier this month, I had a chance to visit London, England. It has 304 kilometers of bus lanes, more than 1,000 throughout the whole city. Toronto can learn from similar cities around the world. At Council, we will be discussing the rapid TO, the dedicated bus lane plan for Dufferin and Bathurst. I support rapid TO dedicated bus lanes. I support more transit to get people moving. Bathurst and Dufferin buses and streetcars carry over 75,000 people per day. Dedicated bus lanes means faster, better, and more reliable services. 10 minutes faster on Dufferin bus and 7 minutes on Bathurst, which means saving 20 minutes per day for thousands of commuters, and 18% more reliable services too. With faster and better transit, 21,000 more riders will join per day, which means less drivers, less congestion, and more revenue for TTC to get even more buses on the road. This proposal has been around for 6 years, since 2019. It's time to move forward and take action. I have heard the concerns of residents and business owners. We must consider alternatives to on-street parking, timing of loading zones, and problems identified by these local communities. Working with local councillors, residents, small businesses, and transit riders, I want options such as HOV bus lanes or other solutions to make public transit on Dufferin and Bathurst faster and more reliable. Let's get it done in time for the FIFA World Cup. That will bring 300,000 people to Toronto. We know the economic cost of congestion is high. That's why the Toronto Region Board of Trade, the voices of businesses in the city, has expressed support for the rapid TO plan. Speaking about congestion, we know the major cause of congestions on roads are uncoordinated construction that sometimes takes too long. There's a report from the Auditor General on this council agenda. She pointed out our transportation department did not properly inspect road constructions by telecom giants like Rogers or Hydro or water repairs. Only 4% of the inspection has been done properly, which means 96% failed. As a result, we lost over $20 million in revenue, and which we did not collect. That goes to fixing our potholes. In fact, the entire system did not even know a lot of the construction that has been taking place. In some cases, construction took place without approvals and without coordination. We must fix this culture and get Toronto moving. At City Council this week, we will also be discussing our plan to build a more affordable, caring city for everyone. As the cost of housing continues to rise, more people than ever are finding themselves in dire situations. The street needs assessments show that today there are more than 15,000 homeless people in Toronto, and our shelters are at full capacity. We are sheltering over 12,000 of them. But last year, we also supplement their rents, 4,344 of them. These homeless folks were able to move from shelters to permanent housing. This past weekend, though, a fire engulfed an encampment at Sinclair in Inglewood, and earlier this month, tragically, a person was killed by a similar fire in a tent, in all the tents under a bridge in Eglinton Avenue. And in Toronto's weather, whether it's extreme cold in winter or heat in summer, more than 300 people experiencing homelessness die each year prematurely. Women died at an average of just 36 years old. That's half of the general. So they're losing about 30 plus years of their lifespan. Toronto is a compassionate city. We know how to take care of each other. And in the short term, everyone needs a safe place to go. And ultimately, we need to build more affordable housing. On the council agenda, there's my letter to the housing minister, Gregor Robertson, in response to his letter. We are on target to build 61,000 homes. This year, 25,000 new homes that the city is building, helping to build, are more than a third of Ontario's forecasted housing starts. We are approving applications 80% faster. We're expanding permission for more housing, which creates potentially 61,000 more homes. But in the meantime, with hundreds of homeless people on our streets, we need to give them support to get back on their feet. If we want to address homelessness and encampments and give people a chance to rebuild their lives, we must build more shelters. Today, we'll be making a decision to approve zoning for 6 more shelters. Shelters that are smaller in scale, they offer holistic support, they blend into the communities through good design, and places that are safe for everyone. These are shelters for 50 seniors in the Etobicoke Lakeshore area, for example. Who are these homeless seniors? They're our grandparents, veterans, who often selflessly gave up their spots for shelters to others. And there are people with disabilities. Another shelter is planned for Indigenous people and people who are recovering from illness and have long-term disabilities. They're in North York. 50 young people will be supported by Covenant House, a place that runs shelter that are so well done that I've met young people there who quickly become volunteers and mentors to other people, other homeless youth that have gone in there. I visited a few months ago Covenant House, met Job, who was sleeping in a shelter because he has nowhere else to go. But when I went back the second time, he was a volunteer there, and he started his own business, has his own place to live in, was thriving. We need to build more shelters to get people off the street and give them another chance to rebuild their lives. Thank you, and I'm happy to take your questions.
We have about 12 minutes for questions, folks.
Mayor, on your response to Minister Robertson, you laid out all the things that the city's doing on these housing targets. So is it your position that the city's already doing enough that the sixplex decision doesn't have to be revisited to gain access to the federal funding?
No levels of government are doing enough to build affordable housing. Of course, there are a lot more we can do. In that fairly extensive letter that I've written to Minister Gregor Robertson, which is on council agenda today, it listed our targets because the Housing Accelerator Fund set a target of 60,000. We're on target to build even more than that. We are 37% in terms of just the past year, which is more than a third. It's a 3-year target. So we are on target to build 61,000 units of housing. We're on target to build a lot faster in terms of housing approval. It's in fact was on the council agenda, on the executive committee agenda that shows and proved that we are 80% faster, with a lot of developers, home builders saying, my God, this is amazing, it's transformative, right? Because we create a one-stop shop for everybody to get everything through in one place. And it also lists all the changes we made. On Avenue and on Main Street, we're allowing 60 units and anywhere from 6 to 12 stories in terms of height. We are allowing, as of right, multiplexes, laneway houses, sixplexes on Main Street, and we are also designing prototype, so it makes it simpler and cheaper for homeowners to build laneway houses, and we'll be designing sixplexes, multiplexes, so that homeowners that choose to do this kind of renovation would be able to get the best design, so it's so much faster for us to approve. And that's coming. We're examining other means to encourage more building. On this council agenda, you will also see a list of all the housing units that are ready to be built. We just need to exempt the development charges. So we're saying to the federal government, there are 25,000 units of housing Shuffle can get in the ground. We list what they are, like Minky's and many others, Fitzrovia, all these rental units that we can get the Shuffle in the ground if we could partner with the federal and provincial government. Part of those are also condos too.
But so just to be clear, you have no intention of bringing that sixplex issue back to city council?
We just examined it last council, and already 9 councillors have said yes. If tomorrow or even today another councillor said yes, we will buy in on it, great. We are open for any other councillors that wants to opt in for their wards. But already 6+ is allowed across the city, just not in some of the residential streets. I just want to be clear, because people are saying, oh, we want to build 6+. 6+ means 6 units, okay? Usually 4 stories. On some of the street, we're allowing 60 units. In fact, I know there are developers and home builders, like Mattamy, that are looking to build factories so that they could do housing so much faster. These are modular housing, so they could go in and build 60 units, any number of stories, could be 6 or 12 stories. So that's allowed already on a lot of streets.
But at the same time, the housing minister said this morning in an interview that he wanted to see by the end of the year them actually being built citywide, not just in these 9 wards. So
Oh, no,
you got a lot of runway for the next several months. Do you think
Yeah.
you might be able to go back and convince these councillors and, more importantly, the people who have all the concerns in the wards?
I heard the Minister of Housing interview on the radio this morning. He talked about targets. He talked about speed. Ultimately, it's the number of housing being built. He also put a lot of emphasis on affordable housing that people can afford. You can build all types of housing. There are condos out there people are not buying. Why? Because it's not affordable. So our plan, unlike other people's plan, our plan, when we exempt development charges, which we did for 8,000 units, Shuffle on the ground now, these are a fifth of them, which is 2 out of 10 units are affordable. So that's a great model. We approved it in December of last year. And we just need partnership from the federal and the provincial government. They all said that we need to make it cheaper for home builders to build. We totally agree, which is why we, in this council agenda, we said 8,000 is done just by the city alone. We also cut property tax by 15% for home builders. And we are deferring development charges, which is a bit of money, for 3,000 units of condominiums, because they are providing, again, 5 to 10% of the new builds are affordable. That's how we are building housing that people can afford.
Mayor Chow, on shelters, like this plan is obviously bringing more shelters outside the downtown core, and that's ruffles some feathers. I'm wondering if you have any concerns that this whole kind of ordeal
Well, we know the rent have gone up so much in the last 2 or 3 years. It is just, people are often 1 or 2 paychecks away from being evicted. Or they are doubling and tripling up and sleeping on couches, sleeping in shifts is difficult. So you're seeing the number of homeless people on the street is 15,000 people, and we're able to shelter them, but every night 150 people are being turned away because our shelters are full. Then what do? Some go and set up tents in parks, in ravines, and we don't want them in parks because the parks are for neighborhoods. And it's dangerous because of extreme cold, extreme heat, fire. We saw a tragic death of people because of the propane tanks they have. So what are the solutions? Where do people that got evicted or ran out of money or got sick and can't afford rent, what do? They come to our shelters. So we have to build more. We are partnering with many organizations, Fred Victor, Good Shepherd, Covenant House, many Romario houses, Matthew houses. These are places that gives people a chance to get back on their feet. In the full house, we see how effective they are. We just need to build a few more shelters. During COVID, we moved people into hotels, but that's expensive. And that is also, it's only individual rooms. There's no sense of community, and it's really hard to provide holistic services to people that are in need, that are in shelters. So we have to build homeless shelters. And I listed the one in Etobicoke Lakeshore, for example. They are the 50 seniors. A lot of them are veterans or people on disability. Their pension is just not enough for them to get a home, to rent something. And then there are 80 that are for Covenant House, that are for young people. And there are 80 that is in Councillor Chang's ward that are Indigenous people, and their shelter has been really well run. This is the Native Women Resource Center that has 10, 20 years of experience. So they are Indigenous women. So they need a shelter over their head. And we are partnering with very good organization to make sure these folks can get back on their feet.
Mayor Chow, on the priority bus lanes.
Yep.
Last week at Executive Committee, there was many deputations. A lot of people in favor.
Yeah, there are 90 deputants, I think. I counted.
Right, many of them were in favor of bus lanes, but there are also people with some legitimate community concerns. In pushing forward this ahead of the World Cup next year, how do you balance out those people who have some very real community concerns with the way those lanes could be implemented?
So which is what my motion is about at the Executive Committee, and hopefully Council approves it. We approved the concept. South of Bloor we are constructing, but there are, yes, legitimate concerns. When do we load our produce, okay? If I am disabled and needs to get, drop off, what do we do? What about on street parking? Where do we go? Actually, in that whole area, there are alternative parking scenarios. We just need to work it through, provide the alternative to some of the homeowners and the businesses. There are solutions. We're not the first city that puts in bus lanes. In fact, if you look at London, England, New York, they're everywhere. And we've done it before, and we have concerns on the King Streetcar, for example. I remember I was a local councillor on Spadina when we put in the Spadina right-of-way for the streetcar. So change is always hard, but once it's put in, people love those dedicated streetcar lanes, whether it's on Spadina Avenue. In the case of King Street, it's so much faster for the King Street riders, TDC riders, that they don't need to drive on King Street. Well, there's still drivers, but less drivers.
But in this scenario, I mean, some of the studies saying it's only gonna save commuters 5 minutes or 3 minutes. Is that worth the hassle of installing these bus routes and going through all of this?
Well, if you're stuck in a bus and you're saving yourself 20 minutes a day and actually showing up on time rather than being half an hour late because all the buses are bunched up, like it's nothing more frustrating that you're waiting. The bus is supposed to come every 2 or 3 minutes in rush hour. You're like, oh, 20 minutes, where's the bus? Well, because they're bunched up, they're stuck in traffic. Or someone is blocking the box, so no one is getting through that intersection. So having dedicated bus lanes not only are saving 10 minutes per way, for example, that's 20 minutes back if you take it back home, for example. It's also making the service more reliable. So TDC predicted that 21,000 more people will take the bus, right? Which is great, or the Bathurst streetcar. That means those people, a good percentage of them, are not driving. That should help. And we have to do it that way because all the major metropolis around the world have dedicated bus lanes, and they run very smoothly. It's just putting it in require a lot of negotiation, a lot of working with the local residents and the businesses as to where they would load, where they would park. For disabled people, how they would get picked up. All of those things needs to be worked through. But we absolutely need to have dedicated bus lanes.
Last question. In light of the staff report on speed cameras, are you in favor of keeping things as they are right now?
What I want to see is a faster notification period. Let's say if I'm speeding in this road, the camera caught me, I want the person to know as quickly as possible. If not, 4 days later, I get a mail in my mail, right? Or 5 days later, I get in my mail, oh, by that time I've gone through the same intersection 3 times. I got 3 tickets. What? So if I can find out, yeah, well, I didn't even know I got it, right? Well, there's big signs there, but I didn't see the sign, okay? I shouldn't be speeding in the first place anyway, but neither here nor there. So if we could actually notify the people faster, then they would say, wait, then that's fair, right? If not, they say, well, I'm getting all these tickets, I didn't even know. Well, let's make sure the sign's big enough that you can't miss it. And then if we can notify them faster, then they wouldn't have to get 2 or 3 tickets back to back.
What are your key items today?
Oh, Rapid TO, Rapid TO dedicated bus lanes. And I think tomorrow will be shelters because it's going to, oh, okay, someone's telling me I need to quit. Thank you.